ready, set, go.
Yeah, whole team on a loose, kick it up like Kung Fu, untamed, yeah, cool, running plays like who knew, hella fast when I slide through, you would've thought we was in a zoo, engine roar like a lion do.
Go, get ready, set, go.
Rain's always a risk here. The weather will tell you one thing and the circuit will just do the opposite.
We've got 2 races, so 2 opportunities to start and finish the race.
Welcome to Britcar round 2. We're here at Oulton Park, a circuit that's known for its technical characteristics. The competition is high, and we're not going to be able to just turn up and expect to win prizes without much effort.
According to the timing today, we are the fastest car throughout the entire day. We got a 1 minute 43 dead.
It would have been a contender for an overall podium, certainly, as Will Ashmore spins, and into the gravel goes the Army Ginetta.
17. Ashmore Canter Gilding.
The Army car.
The Army car. Second off in the gravel trap today, isn't it? Really looking forward to Spa in 4 weeks, and we'll be ready to fight again. Oulton. We were in such high hopes from the beginning of Oulton. You know, in the previous video it was mentioned we had great time with practice and testing prior to that, and it was all really good. And then we went into the race and everything was looking great, but there were some early signs, I guess. You know, the medical incident that happened and some bits and pieces that were going on track that probably were a combat indicator that the tide was changing from really good to not great. You know, there was some driver errors across the whole board. You know, I don't really know, I can't put my finger on it, what went wrong. You know, just sometimes you have those races and things don't go how you plan. You can plan as well as you want or as best as you can, but it only takes a tiny little error and you know, it knocks things off kilter. We as a team have reflected on that really big. We knew how much we've sort of dropped the ball there. We didn't live up to the high standards that we always strive to have, which was disappointing. You know, everyone came away a bit deflated from Oulton, which was sad. My job as the team boss is just to bring that back up and get us back in the game. You know, bring the concentration and the perspective back onto the drivers and the pit crew to make sure that they realise, you know, these things happen and it's not any one single person's fault. It's just a racing incident, or it's a racing, you know, it's just an action that happens. But we go again. You know we are in a really good place as a team. We're fantastic. Everything we do, every way we conduct ourselves, we do everything to the best of our ability. We all have day jobs in the army that are our day jobs, and this is our sport and our hobby, and we love this. This is our passion, and we want to be the best. And it's really disappointing to sometimes come away with putting everything into that weekend or a weekend and not coming away with the hopes that we had, and it's disappointing. But you know, we're at Rouge, the sun's shining, I'm sat here, and we go again, and we're absolutely loving it. You know, you can't be sad in this sort of place, and we are in such high spirits. We've had a really good couple of days of just practicing, tinkering with the car, understanding some stuff, and really importantly, rebonding as a team, I guess, to raise the spirits of everyone that felt a bit deflated. You know, we're in a great place. We're absolutely. You can't be unhappy when you're at Spa. So we go again this weekend. We got 2 days of racing, and we'll give it our all.
Passengers should await further instructions from the crew members.
What am I most looking forward to within this race? I laugh because I feel like I say this every race, and it's like putting out our best performance. Do you know what? It's what I'm really enjoying so far this weekend is like the lads just love it. You know, it's like a bit of a lads' holiday. We get to take the team away, and everyone gets to have a really good time of it. It's not like the UK rounds where we're there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, and actually we're turfed out Sunday or Saturday night. We're here for 6 days, and we get the opportunity to enjoy it. And I kind of want that to be with the race as well. I don't want it to be like super high stress and worrying about everything. You know, like I said before, me and JC talking about lap times, and we can't help ourselves do it, but I reeled us in earlier. Like I was like, let's just stop talking about how we can gain a 10th here and there. Like, let's just enjoy the circuit and let the race come to us. And it's kind of a bit of a cliche thing to say, but I think it can. So yeah, I'm looking. Well, we're kind of already doing it, and I'm enjoying it. Is just seeing the lads have a good time because they work hard for us. They're all volunteers. And I want them to have a good time with it. Do I want to win this weekend? Obviously. Do we have an opportunity to do that? Yes, I think so. There's no challenge class here this weekend, so we are the upper class. We're sharing the grid with the Dutch supercars, which seems to be just a plethora of BMW M4 GT4s and M6 GT3s, which are going to be stonkingly fast. And when I've raced here before with other Europeans, you know, they're a pretty feisty bunch. They don't give no quarter. So we need to be aware of that. You know, we're going to be sharing the grid with them. We will be qualifying together, and you know, it's not going to be like two separate groups on the track. We will be starting wherever we qualify as two grids. So we definitely need to, you know, have our eyes in our mirrors, especially when those M6 GT3s come around, because I'm pretty sure in the dry they will come around quick. I've seen it in lots of multi-class endurance racing where the faster cars think they can stick it up the inside, and the driver in front doesn't see them, and it ends up in catastrophe. So yeah, that's a big consideration this weekend, which actually we've not spoken about too much. So we need to do a bit of a briefing on that. But you know, all that aside, I just want a podium. We can do it. We are absolutely capable between the pit crew. We've been practicing pit stops all evening, and the drivers. We've got the pace, we've got the crew. We deserve a bloody podium. And if we could do it here, I've done it here before. If we could do it again, yeah, that'd make the weekend top.
So welcome to round 3 of Britcar. We're at the iconic racetrack of Spa. For anyone that knows anything about motorsport, I'm sure the background behind you is very, very familiar to you, and it is that iconic area of Eau Rouge, Radion in, Radion out. This track holds quite a special place for us as a team. We first came here about 5 years ago and had some really good success, and we've been here 4 times since then.
Spa is my most favourite circuit in the world. I can't obviously say I've been to many circuits in the world, but between this and Zandvoort outside of the UK, this one is my favourite. It's my 4th time here this weekend. I love Spa because it's such a beautiful circuit to drive. It has a real lovely flow to it. You know, we're sat at the bottom of Eau Rouge or Radion at the moment, and this is one of the best sections of track to me in the world.
Yeah, so this is my first time at Spa. Look at it, unreal. Like, since I was a young lad, like, everyone goes Spa is your favourite circuit. And like, testing yesterday, I've gone, yeah, I can see why it's your favourite circuit, unbelievable. It's got fast, flowy bits, elevation change, a few technical bits. It's an all-round circuit, so I can see why people say, yes, this is my favourite circuit, and now I'm absolutely sold. I don't want to leave now. The sun's out, we're at Rouge, we're all having a good time. This is amazing, so yeah, this is gonna stick in the memory for a while, this one.
Spa-Francorchamps is one of the most iconic circuits in any part of the world. You say Spa to anyone and they pretty much know what you're talking about and where you're coming from. It's huge, it's 4.1 miles. It's a pretty much high-speed track. So admittedly, it doesn't really suit our Ginetta car too greatly because the Ginetta is primarily designed at more of a carrying speed through corners. So, you know, our drivers this weekend are really going to have to be quite on the ball with how they're going to manage their race. They can't rely on short technical parts to find those advantages. We are lacking on the straights because of that. As I say, the cars aren't designed for long straights, and Spa has some of the longest straights in any circuit in any part of the world. So, you know, this track is going to be really interesting. How we compete with others. We've got a 2-driver lineup this weekend with Will and JC. So Will's got a lot of experience here, but JC has never been here before. And we had a benchmark yesterday of being under 2 minutes 40, and both drivers were smashing that. Quickest time yesterday was just short of 2:36, which is brilliant, and JC was under 40s as well. So, you know, signs as they were at Oulton looking really promising, and we're really looking forward to seeing what race day on Saturday and Sunday is going to do for us.
Out on track's been, like I say, we've had some nice sunny dry weather, so I could really push the car on. I could really lean on the car and go, yeah, this is really nice. The car feels planted. Will's done a few tweaks to the car, and it feels really level in the corners. So yeah, the car feels great. So the biggest change for Spa to some of the UK circuits is just how fast you can carry speed in the car. I'm looking down and doing 6th gear. The car's at the top of the rev range, and I'm just going, yeah, bang, turn it in. How is this doing this? So yeah, those aspects of the track are amazing. Just how fast you can push the car and how much you can really lean on these fast, flowy corners is amazing.
It's the first time in the Ginetta here. We had a bit of testing yesterday, very short session, but the car just felt pretty good off the bat, to be honest. There's not really any part of this circuit that you feel awkward driving, or is like an awkward bit for the car. It just has such a lovely flow that you just enjoy it, and you know, if you enjoy anything, time flies by. So the fact that it's a long lap doesn't factor into it at all, really. It factors into the strategy a little bit, because if there's an issue on track, or even comms, you know, because the circuit goes on for miles over that way, well, not miles, but it goes over that way quite far, you know, comms only work quite close proximity, and the elevation as well is a consideration. So it's difficult for comms, but it's such a lovely circuit to drive. I was so excited to come here that my hair fell out.
You did it.
Yeah, so the opportunities for testing was quite limited for us this weekend. We rely on testing quite a lot, especially with JC and Josh, because they are quite sort of lacking in experience of Ginetta and GT racing in general. So the only opportunity we had was one 40-minute session, which we did yesterday. We used that session to the best of our advantage. We had a full 40 minutes. JC had 20 minutes and Will had about 20 minutes as well. There was a minor red flag in the middle. We added an extra 5 minutes, which was good. So we didn't really lose that testing time, which was extremely valuable. We got some good data from the car, understood how much fuel it's using around here. This circuit has quite a few straights on it, so it's very hungry on the fuel. And that data is critical for us to understand our race strategies going into race 1 and 2 over the weekend.
What happened, Will?
I can't do it because I'll swear and I'll be offensive.
No, you're allowed to swear.
Session was really good. The setup's really nice on the car. I've made it really soft and docile for this circuit because I just want us to have a clean race and finish. We've all had a big slice of humble pie since Oulton Park, at least the drivers have. So we just want to we concentrate so hard on lap time, and I think we just need to concentrate on having a clean race and just finishing. So I've set the car up to kind of set us up for that. And by what I've done there is just softened off the back end a bit, so it's not as oversteery, it's a bit more understeery, but it lets us drive the car a bit safer. Anyway, good session. Was just progressively building up the pace as the temperatures came up. Still got an ABS issue, which is held over from Oulton Park. Obviously, I can't test that when the car's in the garage, but no braking issues at all. You can tell it's hot out there. Everything's very soft and squidgy. But yeah, I think we got a 2:37.4. I would have been in a 2:36 on that last lap before we had to box. And that's on a dogged old set of slicks, probably a bit of setup to be changed. We had a minor issue with Team Brit. We caught them up, over the course of about the last quarter of the lap, out of nowhere. So I hope they saw me, but I thought they was letting me through coming into the bus stop. They wasn't. They've gone into the apex, and I just couldn't stop it quick enough, so I just caught their back end and spun them around. But I think there's more damage to our car than theirs, so I was the rear car. It's my fault at the end of the day. I need to judge that. So I'll have to apologise to them in a minute.
So normally I race a BMW 46 330 in the Armed Forces Race Challenge. Obviously for this weekend I'm playing pit crew, being the jackman for the Ginetta in the Britcar Championship. From the outside looking in, it's good because it's something different and it's looking at what I could potentially be doing in the future. It's brilliant coming to Spa. I really enjoy it. I'm jealous that I'm not one of the drivers that get to drive here, and one day I hope that I will have the chance to drive it myself. It's a wonderful track, and being able to go around it and work around it and being involved in the team in such a high level track is definitely on top of the bucket list. Working on the Ginetta is definitely a lot different to working on, especially the Armed Forces Race Challenge type of cars, because it's a specifically built race car. Everything's a lot more fine-tuned, it's cleaner, it's like more precisely built and put together. So we've had practice and pit crew practice so far this weekend. They've gone quite well. When Will has been out in practice, obviously there's been some damage on the car, which we then went straight into fixing the car, which went quite well. Put the car back together, car's ready to go straight back out, and then for the rest of the day really we've been smashing out pit stop practices, make sure all our skills and drills are fluid and ready for the race.
So, Spa weather is well known for being quite moist, or it's in a forest and it's quite high in the forest as well. So the weather changes really rapidly. We've been here previously and it's been beautiful weather like it is today, and then it's an absolute monsoon 20 minutes later. So what we're doing here, we've been quite lucky that we haven't had a wet race so far with Britcar, and we haven't got a lot of experience, if I'm honest, with changing wheels during a race, because it's not something we've really had to plan for. But Spa is a completely different kettle of fish, really demanding track. And what we're doing is just getting the lads drilled on the wheel changes from the pit stop. We've got plenty of time because of the way the fuel system works. It only takes 8 to 9 seconds to put fuel. It gives us about a minute and 30 or so to do the wheel changes, which is plenty of time. What I'm really trying to instill in the guys is that yes, we want to be quick with our pit stops, but don't make mistakes whilst doing it. Get really well drilled, know your process, and haste will naturally come from that. If you're rushing around and messing around, that's when mistakes are made, and we can't afford to have a mistake during a race. This is a shorter race, it's only 61 minutes, there's only one pit stop, so this is we have to get it absolutely dialed in to be as competitive as we can. Historically, we've been really good with pit stops in the past. We've won races off the back of a really good quality pit stop. And we've got some newish members of the team who haven't really experienced this level of competition before. So we're just making sure they're up to speed and comfortable with their roles and what they're doing. Yeah, so just like with any race we have a scrutineering session that's done by national governing body professionals that are trained to make sure the car, the kit, the equipment is all up to the right stringent specification. As we're racing abroad in Europe, we're under FIA rules, which are very slightly different to the Motorsport UK rules. A lot more stringent, they're looking for more specific detail, but as always, our kit and equipment's in great tip-top order. The car's just been checked, the lads and their kit have just been checked, and we've passed with flying colours. So we have got the green flag to go racing again starting tomorrow. Stop being up there. If someone can jump out and use Will Van Schnelly, that would be appreciated. Okay. Please, where is it?
Track conditions this weekend, so far it's been hot, and baking sun on open tarmac isn't great for tyres. It just melts the tyres. What was interesting was when we went for a bit of a squadded run around the circuit yesterday evening, and there is so much rubber down on this circuit that you can hear it on your trainers. It's like peeling your trainers off your feet. And I do track walks every circuit I go to, and I've never been on a circuit that's been so rubbered up as this. What does that mean? Like, as a dry circuit, it will have a ton of grip, which it does. Whereas in the wet, it will be an extremely slippery circuit because that rubber just beads up the rain and it sits on the surface.
So race day then on Saturday, in true Spa conditions, it's absolutely hammered it down and it continues to. When we arrived at circuit about 7:30 this morning, there was a thunderstorm taking place, and ultimately what that means is that no track activity can take place, so it's caused approximately 1 hour delay. It's still raining, but luckily the thunderstorm's finished. The lads have been setting the car up, getting it into a soft setting for wet racing. Myself, JC and Will have just conducted the driver and team manager brief as well upstairs with the clerk of the course. We've gone through some bits and bobs. There's a few questions about refuelling during the race, which we're sort of waiting essentially for their decision to see whether we can or can't do it, because of the Belgian rules are different to the British rules, and they're just trying to get clarity. Ultimately what that means is it's a knock-on effect to our strategy planning, and we're just waiting out now to see what can or can't be done. But that's for the race come this afternoon. Our priority now is getting the car ready essentially for when the track opens, and we can get on with free practice and then into qualifying around lunchtime. I'd say there's not many sports in the army you can do where it takes you to absolutely iconic places that most people can relate to or know or identify. Spa-Francorchamps is one of the oldest circuits in the world in motorsport. Bikes come here, cars come here, there's a karting track, there's off-road areas, there's a lot going on here. I guess it's very similar to Silverstone in the UK in that it's one of the oldest and one of the most well-known. The original Spa was 12 odd miles, which is crazy. It's 4 miles today. And when you're driving around the local area, you are driving on old parts of the circuit. And you know, as a motorsport enthusiast, that is just, there's no words to describe how cool that is. And this sport just gives you that. You know, we are passionate motorsport enthusiasts. We're not professionals as much as we want to be. We are not paid motorsport professionals. We are soldiers that do sport. And this is one of those sports that just absolutely, like, tickles your pickle, right? It just, I love it. I've been here now 4 or 5 times. Last year we went to Zandvoort, again, another fantastic circuit. But, you know, Spa is, for me, my favourite circuit anywhere in the world. It's the epitome, and I love coming here. And the Army affords that. You know, I'm here because the Army allows me to be, and this isn't a recruitment video, but it's just a little, like, you know, if you love a sport and you want to get involved, this is like creme de la creme. This is up there. You know, not many places you can work, do a day job somewhere, and it pays for you essentially to come abroad and live your best life with your mates, doing the thing you love, and hopefully coming away with some silverware or, you know, good memories if nothing else, which we always have when we come here because this place is fantastic. So yeah, I just love coming here, the banter with the lads and all the camaraderie that comes with it. Yeah, I'll never get bored of coming to this circuit. I'll never get bored of coming here with this team and just giving it our best, and, you know, just having a bloody great time.
Scary, isn't it? Like, when it just does that, and you're like,
that's why I was messing around, mate. I was just like, so
what you don't want it to do that, and it just spins the other way, and you just get
flat
into no man's land.
And you kind of semi don't know when you've got it back.
Yeah, but coasting over it works.
Yeah.
Just lift and let the car roll over it. Definitely works.
Yeah. Right, so that concludes quali for Saturday. We finished P4, which is phenomenal. What you'll probably notice behind me is that it's gone really, really sunny, which is completely different to how it was very first thing this morning. It was torrential rain, this track is pretty much dried up. So what that means for us, we went out on quali with a wet setup, very much different to how we would run a dry race. We're not going to be on wet tyres, we're likely to be on slicks. But again, as I've mentioned previously, Spa is a wild place for the weather. We're not 100% sure if we are racing on slicks at this moment. But we'll have to see how it is in 45 minutes just before the race, and we'll make a split decision there and give it our best shot. But P4 is a great place for us to start the race.
So, you think, I've got to be realistic when you come to Spa here. You think, oh, what could be the result? I was thinking, if we could walk away with a podium from this weekend, what a dream come true. Like, all my family are here, I'm surrounded by Army Motorsport lads, so it's just years and years of friends. We could just celebrate a podium together. That would be the, if the racing had to stop after that, I think I could be like, okay, I'm happy with that. If we could get a podium here together as a team and celebrate under the Spa sunshine, amazing.
"27 degrees here at Spa-Francorchamps. The drivers are cooked up in these cars for the next hour. On the grid, a couple of drivers wafting their doors open and closed. That's just to improve the airflow. You need to make the most of the airflow where possible. Green lights on the gantry, which means we are ready for the formation lap here. This is where the drivers have an opportunity to warm up their cars, warm up their tyres, and not just get themselves, but also their cars race ready. The formation lap is well and truly underway. It will be foot to the floor now as we go green here for Supercar Challenge in Spa-Francorchamps. Lights go off in the gantry and we are racing.
Right, so that concludes race 1 of our weekend here at Spa. Really, really fantastic racing. We qualified 4th and we finished the race at P6. We were doing really well. We were P4 for quite a while, but then during the pit stop we seemed to have lost a couple of places. There was a lot of safety cars during the race, and there was a bit of like the safety cars were allowing other cars to go around it. So it just sort of messed the whole grid up a bit, and we sort of didn't benefit from that. We essentially lost out from it, which was a bit frustrating. But the main thing is the car did fantastic. Both drivers did really well. Our car suffers here as a circuit because it is such a high-speed circuit, and the Ginetta just isn't built for long, high-speed races like some of these big GT cars. But you know, phenomenal effort. JC managed to overtake in the very last corner of the race and gained us an extra place, which you know is fantastic. Bagged really quality championship points. Probably our best scoring points of the weekend of any race of Britcar we've done so far. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bag consistent laps, consistent point scoring. Because you don't have to win every race to win the championship. You just need to be consistent. And that's what we're trying to prove today. We're going to rinse and repeat tomorrow. Similar strategy. The car's getting a little bit of TLC because it had a couple of knocks during the race. Nothing bad, just cosmetic damage if nothing else. So the lads are working on that now, probably for another hour or so. And then we'll get some much earned rest and get on with tomorrow and see what race 2 looks like. Right, so it's the second day of racing here at Spa, race day 2. In a big turn of events, it's almost going to be a role reversal of the weather that we saw yesterday. Yesterday was really grey and cloudy in the morning, like thunderstorms, and just really, really bad. This morning it's bright, sunny, quite a good chill in the air, which is just really good for the engine and for temps, for performance. What I'm really hoping for is we have a wet race. The rain allows us to really even the playing field when it comes to the big power cars. As I've previously mentioned, our Ginetta is phenomenal in the corners. It's a really, really great track car, but it does lack a little bit of oomph down the long straights. Spa has some of the longest straights in any sort of race circuit in the world. So when it comes to a long race, the bigger cars just get more advantage than we can capitalise upon. But what the rain does, that slows them down and just really evens the playing field. As we saw in qualifying yesterday, which was torrential rain, we qualified 4th out of everyone, which is great. And it really puts us in the mix of, you know, potentially getting a trophy. Yesterday, the race was absolutely scorching hot, and it was beautiful weather, but just not great for us from a racing perspective, so we sort of fell down the pecking order a little bit. Still bagged good points, but just we weren't anywhere near in contention for a trophy, which, you know, we would absolutely thrive on if we were to be anywhere near that today. It's another long day, very much similar timings, but we're looking forward to it, and the lads are just prepping the car now. It's going out in 20 minutes or so for a first practice session. JC's in the seat today to go out with, qualifying about lunch, and then the race is about 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then we'll look to pack things up and come home tomorrow.
I could bump start it, but then it cuts out again, so.
Yeah. Will, what's happening with the car?
Well, yesterday after the race, the car went down to Park Ferme, and when we tried to restart the car after being sat in Park Ferme, it wouldn't restart, but it would start and then cut out. So something is telling the ECU that something's wrong, and it's killing the engine. The problem is, when we got it back here, everything had cooled down, and it was working again. So I tried to move some of the wiring around to take it away from heat sources and things, but obviously that's not worked. So I need to try and hopefully now if the car will come in and it's still got the issue, I can see it on the ECU on the laptop. Hopefully it'll be a quick fix. But if we need like sensor spares and that, we're going to be running around the paddock trying to find them.
So free practice hasn't gone brilliantly for us, to be honest. JC on his very first lap at the end of the Kemmel Straight, which is like about a minute or so into the lap, experienced the same thing that we felt at the end of Park Ferme yesterday. A sensor issue is basically cutting the engine out at high oil pressure. It took quite a while for the recovery team to pick the car up and bring it back here. But the guys have just sorted it out. Basically removed the safety element of the cutout on the ECU, so we're just going to take the car out. We've got about 5 minutes left of free practice just to see, well, if there's reliability in the car, if nothing else, and yeah, and hopefully that resolves the issue and we'll have a good qualifying and practice, race later.
So I'm just at Spa now. I'm in the sunshine, got friends and family all behind me, and I'm just thinking, if you told 17, 18, 19-year-old me, you're going to be doing this, I wouldn't believe you. So without trying to get emotional about it, because it is difficult, there's a lot of people that have put a lot of faith in me for lots and lots of years. Like my partner, Beth herself, she's put a lot of sacrifice looking after the kids, dragging the kids all over the country so I can do my passion. A lot of sponsors, friends and family that have put in financially to help me out. I've got friends and family that come to circuits, they span it for me. That's all out of their own pocket. I don't pay them anything, they do that out of passion for the sport and to support me, which is amazing. I'm very lucky. I say, and it's not just friends and family that make the sacrifice week in, week out. I've got the support of some great companies that have backed me from early days. I started off doing stock car racing, and it's been 10 years of just doing the club level stuff, doing everything myself with like a close knit support of friends and family. And like I say, without the companies that have helped me, like FTX Logistics, My Hardy Fleet Support, As Good Engineering, so many others that have just stuck with me the whole time, year after year. They just want to see me do well. I just want a big thanks and shout out to them. And this is the reward we get for their years and years of support. So a big shout out to them.
Boys, I fucked the car. I'm off when I fucked it. Boys, no, no, no!
It's fine, it's fine.
So we can see the car properly.
I've got, I'm afraid. Sorry, chaps.
I know it looks absolutely horrific. It does. It's a bit of that, but mainly body Hopefully by now you would have seen the extent of the damage on the car. It came about during quali. We were in the last 2 minutes of quali, so JC was doing the qualifier. He was pushing hard on the last lap because we got stuck in a lot of traffic, and I was just egging him on the radio that his final lap had to be his fastest to put us in a good place for quali. Unfortunately, he lost control of the car in turn 13, which is a relatively slow part of the circuit on a very fast, generally fast circuit. So yeah, he lost control and hit a barrier essentially, and the whole front right-hand corner of the car has been caved in, as you might see. As is with most motorsport grids, teams that we compete against come in to us in floods to offer help, and there's several other teams here with cars very similar to ours, and they've got loads of spares. We work on a very shoestring budget. We don't have an enormous amount of spares. We've got hardly any, if I'm completely honest. But 3 or 4 of the teams here have said, look, we've got pretty much everything you need. Take the car apart, have a look what it is, and we can supply it, and then we can sort out the financial side of it later. But this is what happens when you race in at the front edge of competitive motorsport. We're on a shoestring budget. We don't have an Arctic lorry full of spares, so now we've got all the lads grafting for the next 2 hours. There is a slither of hope we could get it back out for the race, but ultimately our priority now is just to get the car rolling again, so at slow time when we get back to the UK next week, we can look at the car properly and assess the damage in real depth and make a plan. Our next race is Snetterton in about 6 or 7 weeks, so we've got a good chunk of time, but as always it's the financial blockers that are going to slow us down the most, so fingers crossed we can get the car rolling in the next 2 hours and we'll go from there. Right, so that concludes round 3 of the Britcar Championship. We arrived here on Wednesday as a team, early doors, and we got into Spa around 8 o'clock on Wednesday evening. Then Thursday we were straight into testing. We were really limited on test time for Spa, which was unfortunate, but completely out of our hands. Then going into Friday, we spent Friday basically doing a bit of skills and drills with the team, the pit crew, make sure that's all tidied up and really well rehearsed. And we also did some setup and just general tinkering with the car. Then going into Saturday, we had race day 1, which was great. It was a 3-part day essentially. We did a free practice in the morning, going into a qualifying about at lunchtime, and then to a race later in the afternoon. That went really well for us. Qualifying, it was terrible weather, and the Ginetta does really well in the weather because it balances the playing field amongst the higher performance cars. So that allowed us to put in a really good result, and we finished P4 in the overall standings for Britcar. Come the time of the race though, the weather completely changed. It gone from absolute torrential rain to a really nice day, to be honest, really lovely weather day, perfect race conditions almost. But what that really meant for us was that we lost that balancing of performance with the bigger cars. The long straights in Spa just don't suit the Ginetta very well, and that was always going to be against us. There's only so many sweeping curves we can pick up that advantage, but come a long straight, we just don't have it. But we did as good as we could. We finished P6 in the race, which was fantastic, scored some really good championship points. And then Sunday, today, weather looked very much the same as race 1's race weather. Really pleasant day, perfect race conditions, I guess. Come through practice, we had a bit of a mare with that. A sensor on the car sort of basically limited our time. We got ditched at the end of the straight, and we lost about 30 minutes of practice, which just really harmed us in terms of playing with the car and getting comfortable for the day, I guess. We managed to salvage a little bit at the end. Will jumped in the car, and with only one relatively warm set of tyres on the car, bagged the 4th quickest lap of the day, which is just phenomenal. So we were feeling quite positive, despite the small technical issue. And then come the qualifying, JC was selected to do the qualifying for today. Will did yesterday for race 1 and JC today. And everything's going quite well. I was urging JC on to put in a fast time. His practice times were really good and I wanted him to replicate that in qualifying. So he was on his last lap and literally 3 corners from the finish line and I think he dropped a wheel where he shouldn't have, essentially, and it sort of set the whole car out of balance and unfortunately put us into the wall, and essentially has ended our day from there. Despite best efforts of the lads getting amongst the car, we just haven't had the time on our side to really fix it. It was all best intentions, but time was against us today and we've run out of time, unfortunately, so we couldn't compete in race 2.
Cool, so that's the weekend wrapped up from Spa. I sound a little bit downbeat, and I suppose that's only fair. You know, I love coming here, and I think overall we've had a really good weekend. The lads it's been a super busy weekend. You know, yesterday went really well. Saturday qualifying was fine. Qualified P4 in the wet, and then on the race we went on to finish P6. So you know, points in the bag for the championship. And then, yeah, we decided to make the car a little bit slicker, a little bit more streamlined to just gain a few mile an hour on the long straights, because it's such a fast circuit and the car's underpowered compared to the rest of the class. We just needed a little bit more mile an hour just to try and keep up a bit to the front runners. And what we did between Saturday and Sunday was flipped it on its head. So I started practice, quali and the race yesterday, and today JC was to start practice, quali and the race today. This morning we had an issue with the car where it didn't want to start, but we was able to quickly fault find that down to a bit of a sensor issue. We just kind of cut that out of the ECU, so it wasn't looking for it, and we were fine. And then yeah, JC kind of missed practice. I went out for practice, did 1 out lap, 1 flying lap, 1 out lap, 1 warm-up lap, and then 1 flying lap, and we came, was it 7th overall of the entire grid? Like that was really good going, and that was just a bit of a trick that I have up my sleeve to set up the car to work on slicks in damp to wet conditions, because it was quite wet this morning, and it's just a way to switch the tyres on, get some temperature, and then you're always going to be faster on slicks than wets if you can get temperature in them, and we did that. I think we were 3rd in Britcar with that as well. And then we set up the car to be a bit more streamlined, like I just said. And then yeah, JC went out for qualifying, so he did his first 10 minutes to warm up, came in, boxed the car, set tyre pressures, and then he went out to do his flying laps, his final 10 minutes. And he was into it. I think he was going pretty well. He was caught with a lot of traffic, but then yeah, going through turns 12 and 13, the car just went into a bit of oversteer, and as he caught it, by the time he had caught the oversteer, he was pointed towards the wall, and the car the front right corner just went into the wall. A tyre barrier, which I thought was supposed to soak up some damage, but maybe it's just to protect the wall on the other side. And it, you know, long story short, it's ripped off the front right wheel and all the suspension, the brakes, the lot. It's done considerable damage to the car. Since then, which was at like 12 o'clock today, we've just been stripping the car down, assessing the damage, and you know, trying to work out if the car's fixable and if we can get it to Donington Park Snetterton in 5 weeks' time.
Saturday was a funny day really. Loads and loads of rain, then some glorious sunshine in the afternoon. An amazing first race. I did the second stint in the race. Had a great race the whole throughout my stint. Made a great move on the last corner, on the last lap to take an extra position, which felt amazing. The reaction of the lads on the pit wall was great. So yeah, Saturday was absolutely amazing, absolute high, and I was just absolutely buzzing, and that's the reason why we do this. And then we come to Sunday today, and it's not gone so well. So the highs of yesterday to the ultimate lows of Motorsport today. Yeah, so qualifying, I was warming the car up. The first half was really good. we have a 10-minute window for just the qualifying, so the car was prepped for that. I was good to go straight into qualifying. I was just getting traffic, and traffic was really hurting us. I think that kind of maybe built into a little bit of frustration of the traffic when I knew I could extract way more time out of the car, and I kind of just had one shot at it. So I was really pushing the car. I thought on the limit, maybe I was just really fine. We got to drive these cars right on the line, and sometimes you're on the right side of that. Today I was on the wrong side of that. But like I say, leading up to that, the delt was really good. I was down over a second on time, so I was ready to put a really good time in and put us at the sharp end. And unfortunately, the car just got a little bit loose, kind of came out of the power. I was putting a bit of input in, a little mistake. Kind of corrected it, just didn't quite have enough room on the outside of the circuit to recover it, and gravel and a big impact into the tile. And you never know how bad it is when you sat in the car. But when I got out, I knew we were in big trouble, and it could be our day, maybe our championship. But fingers crossed we can get back out and make it work for the rest of the year.
But main thing is obviously you're good.
Yeah, I'm okay. Felt a bit bad and bruised when I first got out, but that's kind of worn off now. Now it's just the pride's taking the biggest hit. The lads have been really good at trying not to take the mick too much, but I know inside they can't wait. So I'm sure in a couple of weeks the mick taking will come. But yeah, just a bit of pride, and sometimes when these things happen, you kind of doubt yourself a little bit. You think, maybe I'm not good enough for this, but you know deep down you are, but you just have that moment where you just have a bit of self-doubt. But a couple of days of self-reflection, I think I'll be ready to go again. And obviously we've got a very bent race car beside us here. The lads have had to strip it down. Now the hardest thing is trying to get it home on the pallet. We've got no spares here to get the car back. And it's all my doing. Like I say, I made a mistake coming in some of the fast stuff. The car felt good, but made a little mistake on the way I drove it, and yeah, ultimately paid the price, and the car's in real bad nick, and leaves us with a big repair bill and some big decisions to make for the rest of the season. And everyone's really been really good. Oh, don't worry about it, JC. It happens. It does, but that doesn't make it feel any better. Really, it really sucks, and financially, it's going to be a big stress for the team and myself and the family. So it's a lot of decisions to make. But yeah. Feeling pretty dejected at the minute, but we will go again. I believe in this team, and I believe in myself, Will and Josh, the other drivers, and we will come back from this one way or another, hook or crook. We'll be back, I'm sure. Like, we've got loads of good, loyal sponsors that will help us out if we need it, I'm sure of it. And yeah, if not, we'll go to the bank and ask for some extra cash.
So now, so from this point on, we obviously need to get the car home back to the UK, which is going to be a bit of a task in itself. It's currently missing a front right corner, which means there is no wheel on that corner essentially. So we're trying to work out a way of getting it onto the trailer. We do have air jack skates, which are essentially little skateboards, I guess, that go on each corner of the car and allows us to move it around quite easily. But it's easy to move it around on a garage floor, but not so much on a bumpy trailer track. So we're going to take our time with that this evening, make sure it's strapped down nice and tight, ready for the drive back home to the UK tomorrow morning. Following that then, Will and the team have got a lot to do. They've got to assess the damage essentially and see what is or isn't broken. We've already done quite a lot of that. We've made a big list of everything we think is broken, and we've put a lot of bits and pieces in the bin. To be fair, a lot of it is cosmetic. It's body panels, which are relatively easy to replace, but there are some more difficult or more expensive parts which we also need to focus on, such as coilovers and suspension uprights and various other bits and pieces. It's going to take a bit of time for us to really get through that damage inspection and understand what is or isn't broken. We need to make sure that the car still strings straight, that it can drive in a straight line, and all the sort of nitty-gritty tweaks we make to the suspension is still possible, because various points of the car are now damaged, and we just need to make sure that's all good and tight. We've got 6, maybe 7 weeks until our next round, which is at Snetterton. And I'm pretty positive. I'm staying very upbeat that we're going to be there. It's going to take a lot of effort and determination by the pit crew to fix the car, but also from myself and Will and a few others to source the parts, which is the biggest problem, and then even compounded further by the actual financial burden of that as well. We are probably estimating around £10,000 worth of damage on the car, and we are a small and humble but very determined race team, and we don't have that sort of money lying around. We don't have a spares package really at all, let alone that to that sort of size. So we've really got to dig in deep behind the scenes and make this happen, because if we don't, we won't be at Snetterton, and we won't be back competing, and that's where we want to be. And yeah, we've got some work ahead of us for sure.
Whew. Yeah, stress levels are high, I'll be honest. It's part of racing for sure, but nobody wants it to happen to them. I've never been involved in a major accident with a race car before. JC's devastated, and I really feel for him. And there's no blame, with this team. There's never any blame one way or another. This is where, like, as a team, I think we really shine above everyone else. We come together. The lads have really grafted, stripping the car down. And we know what we need to do, which is a hell of a lot of work for Donington. Yeah. Snetterton. For Snetterton. It's a real shame to end the weekend like this. There's no two ways about it. But the lads will come together, we'll fix the car, and we'll be back.